This is Dan of Vagabond Awake.
𝗔强会 from 𝗕 Venture.
And in this report, we'd like to discuss, should I retire early in Thailand or in the Philippines? Since we're all different, we've decided to just share the differences we notice living in Thailand versus living in the Philippines so you can make up your own mind. But we will share the differences we notice in the following categories: culture,
Visa rule,
cost of living,
language,
finding love,
per capita income,
religion,
food,
tourism,
cultural openness,
natural disasters,
infrastructure,
such as hospitals, roads, health insurance, and
personality type.
such as who will thrive better in Thailand versus the Philippines. So, why do we know this?
Because that's Dan been traveling for 67 countries in 15 years plus. We spent around 2 years living all around Thailand and the Philippines, gathering the data and writing retired trip report, which are available at vagabondmuda.com.
And in Thailand, for example, we spent time in Chiang Mai,
Koh Lanta,
Phuket,
Krabi,
Hua Hin,
Bangkok,
Chiang Rai,
Pai,
Pattaya,
Jontin,
Koh Samui,
and Koh Phangan,
and in the Philippines, Camiguin Island,
Davao,
Dumaguete,
El Nido,
and Coron, Palawan,
Makati,
Panglao Boho,
Cagayan de Oro,
Tagaytay,
Subic,
Angeles City,
Baguio,
Vigan.
San Fernando, and San Juan in La Union.
So we know a thing or two about each country, and we'll now share the differences we notice between the two. We are hoping that by sharing these differences, you'll be able to figure out which one resonates more for you. Okay, the differences. Cultural differences.
Cultural differences between the Thailand and the Philippines.
Yeah. Thailand has, you've seen the photos, the most extravagant, opulent temples in the world. Gold and beautiful colors and gold Buddhas and all that sort of thing. There's 10 centuries of ancient ruins all over Thailand that you can see. Whereas the Philippines was colonized by Spain first and then later the US, and so it has colonial era churches and it has festivals, traditional clothing, and family life is very important, and it has a very time-sensitive or slow sort of culture.
Yeah, and their church have like that ones in the Manila.
Yeah.
There is more than 400 years old. They have few church is under UNESCO. There's more than 400 years old. Even in Vigan, I think they have 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And also they have the oldest Chinatown in the world. Is in Manila.
Yeah.
So every culture, these 2 countries, they have their different culture. It's dependent how you go to find those culture. Because most of people will say that Philippines don't have culture. The thing is, they only go to the beaches in the Philippines. They didn't go to visit the city in the Philippines, and like Manila, Vegans, and Cebu also have a very long culture, and also their festival boom every month. I mean, yes, you can see.
Yeah, and so these are both places that are rich in culture. So what about visas? What are some of the differences we noticed about visas?
Yeah, what kind of visa are you talking about?
That's the point. For example, in the Philippines, as a tourist, you can just go to the Philippines and you get 30 days on entry, and you can extend that tourist visa for 36 months by paying like $25 a month for up to 3 years, 36 months before you have to do a visa run. So it's real simple if you want to stay long-term in the Philippines, and you can just do a visa run every 3 years and just start the whole thing over again.
For your understanding, when you arrive in Philippines, you only get 1 month visa. Don't freak out, okay? Because you can extend it up to 36 months.
In the Philippines.
Yes, because people always asking, how many months I can get? How many months I can get? Why I can get only 1 month? Everyone is the same when you arrive in Philippines. You only get 1 month visa, and then you go to extend for another 1 month, and then you can extend for 6 months. Or depend on the immigration, some they will direct to give you 6 month visa.
Yeah, and it's it's country based, but most of the countries this is the rule. I'm sure there's countries where the rules are more stringent, but you can stay for 36 months without leaving the country just by going and doing your extension. That's the main point there,
yes.
right? And whereas in Thailand, you get a month on entry, but you can only extend for 1 month.
Yes.
And then you have to do a visa run. So you're doing a visa run from Thailand every other month. You come in for a month, get 1 extension, do a visa run. And that is how the Philippines and Thailand works for visas, for tourist visas.
For tourist visas.
Or for tourist exemptions. They're not even visas really for most countries.
Yes.
But there's also the issue of retirement visas, right? Almost nobody we met in the Philippines bothered to get a retirement visa.
Mm-hmm.
Why fill out a bunch of paperwork and have to and report to the government and pay money and put money in the bank to get a retirement visa when you just extend every 3 or 4 months for 3 or 4 more months, just pay some fees, no money in the bank, no filling out forms. So most expats living in the Philippines, regardless of age, they just extend their tourist visa. So they don't bother with the retirement fee. There is a retirement visa, but you have to put money in the bank, you have to fill out forms, so most people don't bother to do it. In Thailand, if you want to stay longer and you don't want to do those visas runs, you can get a retirement visa. And there's 2 kinds of retirement visas. One is based on your monthly income. If you're 50 years or older and you have roughly 2,000, it changes based on the exchange rate. But you can get a 1-year retirement visa and then you just extend it at the end of the year. You have to fill out forms, you have to do some paperwork, you have to go to the office, but it's good for a year, but there is reporting you have to do throughout the year. The other choice is to put 800,000 baht, which sounds like a lot, but it's only like 23,000 right now based on the exchange rate for US dollars. And then you have 1 year and you just renew it at the end of the year. There is some reporting also, but it's an easier process. And so many people just go that route. They put a little money in a Thai bank. And those you have to renew every year. And so those are your 2 kinds of visas, tourist and retirement visas. And most of the people we run into in Thailand that are staying long-term, that are 50 years or older, they're all getting the retirement visas because there's agents you can get that do the work for you. And so it's not that hard.
So the next one is cost of living in Thailand and the Philippines.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know about the cost of living?
So first thing you should know is both of these countries are quite affordable, and the cost of living may not be the reason that you pick one or the other, but we'll talk about it anyway. Spent a few years in these 2 places, so we know a bit about, in many different places, what you're going to have to pay in rents. And it seems as if you're clever and you do some footwork, you should be able to get rents in both places if you're willing to sign a long-term lease, somewhere from about $275 to $475 a month for rents. But we did notice that in many parts of Thailand, the units themselves are a little more westernized, a little more modernized than they were in the Philippines for that same price. So you get a little bit nicer. Also probably not a reason to live in Thailand versus the Philippines. Both have affordable rents, I would say.
Both have a good rent, and it depends on how you find the rent,
Yes.
how you find the house. Because if you didn't put your heart to find a house, you will not get a nice house that much, or
Yeah.
you didn't know anyone. Find some local, make friends with local, you will find a good house. And for the transportation, I would say both also is good. You can rent by the jeepney and tuk-tuk in the Philippines, and then you can rent the songkhel and tuk-tuk in Thailand.
There's public transportation in both areas, and they're both pretty walkable if you stay near village or city centers. But if you want to be out in the country, you might want to get a scooter both in the Philippines and Thailand in order to get into town without too much hassle. You can get used scooters both in the Philippines and in Thailand for anywhere from like $500 to $1,000, including a couple helmets. But it is dangerous, so wear your helmet.
The next one is entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment, I would say that both, you mean nightlife, you mean cinema? Yes, they all have.
Yeah.
It depends on the city or area that you go.
Yeah,
if
it
you are
varies very much. Yeah.
Yeah, in province area, they might don't have much entertainment in the night.
Yeah.
Both is the same.
Maybe just hiking and waterfalls, that
Yeah.
kind of thing, beaches. But the closer you get to the city, the more sort of city life you have.
They have
And-
nightlife karaoke, they have drinking place, they have bar, they have lady bar, and have
Malls.
malls a lot.
Yeah, they have malls in both places, so you have a lot of choices in terms of entertainment, and much of it is free, and so that's very helpful. Now, you don't have to take notes here. Everything we're talking about is in reading. You'll just click the link in the notes below this YouTube video to see it in writing, and we'll give you that link at the end. Language. Now, a lot of people pick the Philippines because of English is spoken more widely there.
English is their official language in the Philippines.
Right.
Yes.
And but I would say that you also have what I call tourist English in Thailand, in the touristy areas, and even in some retail shops as you get further away from the tourist areas, you'll find that there's always someone around to speak English, and if they aren't, you can just simply use Google Translate. Google Translate has a type section where you type in the words, and it spits out Thai or the local Philippine language, and you just show it to the person, or you can actually speak into the Google Voice, and it'll convert for you into another language. So you have Google Translate. And it's always true that the further away you get from the cities and away from tourist areas, the less proficient they are in English. And you'll have to be more creative in how to get your message across.
Yeah, so I would suggest just always on your phones, have your phone with you, and also they have the connectivity with you, so you can able to use a Google Translate.
Exactly. Okay, the next one thing we want to talk about is finding love. Finding love in the Philippines versus finding love in Thailand. The first thing I'll mention is passport power. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with how easy to find love in the country. It has to do with once and if you do find love, how easy is it to travel with your new love? For example, a Thai passport can go to 42 countries visa-free, whereas a Philippines passport can only go to 36 countries visa-free. So it's a little easier to travel if you have if your lover has a Thai passport. So that's passport power. But if you're just going to stay in the country, go home and visit family once in a while, that shouldn't make a difference. And all the countries, I have reports on countries all over the world, all the best retired cheap countries in the world. And there are countries that are better than both Thailand and Visa. For example, Chung's from Malaysia. Chung has a very strong passport. Her passport's just about as good as mine. We can go most anywhere. So passports does matter with respect to finding love, but we're talking about the Philippines, and so Thailand's only a little better. In the Philippines, I'll call it Americanized because it was an American colony, and that's part of the reason they speak English more. It's also true that they've adopted American culture more because the American military was there for many, many years. And so when you go to the Philippines, the Filipinas, they speak English often a little more, and they understand American culture and music. The kind of women that you can find there, I'll call them girl next door types. They have the kind of attitude that you would have in a smaller town, maybe even earlier in time, in the 50s or 60s culturally, and so it feels kind of like home. Whereas Thailand, and this could be positive also, it's a very exotic place. It's a different culture. They're Buddhists. They have they believe in karma, which is they do unto, it's sort of like do unto others as you'd want them to do unto you. So it's a more it's a more laid back, peaceful kind of place. There's less crime in Thailand than there is in the Philippines, although I don't think the Philippines really are that bad crime-wise either. But it's just it's sort of an exotic thing when you go to Thailand, and it's also a very lovely place. And also, the Thai culture has had foreigners going there for years, and so sometimes relationships can feel a little bit transactional, like it's more about maybe money sometimes than it is about love, and so there's a difference there also. But that doesn't mean you can't find a great Thai woman that's about love more than transaction. It's just that you'll notice that as on entry. And so and also I think in the Philippines, with respect to the families, you'll see more age difference relationships there, and it's a little more accepted. So those are some of the differences between the Philippines and Thailand. But I think in both places you'll find that as a Westerner going to Southeast Asia, there's a large, you'll find that your status kind of goes up a little, like you're able to date someone maybe more attractive than you would in your home country. So,
yes, for me, I would think about that Philippines and Thailand, that you will see Philippines is more easy to accept a foreigner which is have a age gap with the partner more than the Thailand.
Yeah.
Thailand is seldom to see this kind of thing. While we are in Thailand, we didn't see that much.
Yeah.
So what I would think that you would be more easy to find love in the Philippines than the Thailand.
yeah. Okay, so this video ended up to go a little longer than we expected, so we'll put part 2 on Chung's channel. Click up here now to go over to Chung's channel.